We're going to talk a little bit about the sedimentary rock. Sedimentary basically means one that settles. And there's actually three kinds of sedimentary rocks. There's actually a lot more than that, but these are the basic ones. It's clastic. That means by mechanical means. Something breaks, a bunch of gravel breaks and compresses, gets pressed to the bottom of the ocean, something like that. That's clastic. That means it's mechanical. There's precipitated, which means it's just like this stalactite here. It means water evaporated, leaving the minerals or leaving the different, it's usually minerals it leaves, but it becomes rock because there's different minerals that form into the rock. And then there's organic, which is cold. What did I do with it? I just have it here. Oh, I laid them over here. Okay. Here's a piece of coal, and actually I forgot about this being a depot, a train depot, because they have lots of coal, and she wanted me to go out across the railroad tracks at the power plant to look for a piece of coal. I completely forgot. Yeah, I know, that's why I realized that when we pulled up here. I said, wait a minute, this is a train depot museum, they're going to have coal. But anyway, this is not your coal. This coal came from the railroad tracks. And this is a type of sedimentary rock. Okay. Also, water precipitated. Water precipitated rock. This is a stalactite that when I was about, I guess, 18 or 19 years old, we were cave explorers. We did a lot of cave exploring, and we were up in Maryland, but we were sort of out away from Washington D.C. They were out in the country, and I knew everybody, and they all knew we were cave explorers. And the guy that ran a commercial cave out there called me. He said, "Mark, they're dynamiting behind a cave, and they're cutting into a quarry back there, and they're cutting into the back part of the cave, which is about 1.5 miles, maybe 2 miles away." And he said, "Go back there and talk to me. He said, they'll let you get anything they're going to blast." So I went back there, and sure enough, they said, "You guys can go in there as far as you can today, because we're going to blast tomorrow. We're going to cut almost through that hole." And so we got a bunch of really nice stalactites out of there. And this is the only one I've got left because I've given them away over the years. I gave one to the university, and I thought they knew how to take care of it, but they didn't. And I went back to see my old professor 5 or 6 years later, and the one I gave us, the geology department, a stalactite about that big around, about that long and about that big around, that I carried up 200 feet up of tube to get it up to the surface, handed it off to her. She couldn't even hold the thing. So I had to push it up and push it up to get it out. And they had let it decay. Because some types will absorb, the water inside will absorb out. This doesn't, this type doesn't. But this stalactite we got, I guess back in the early 60s. And that's, I just thought maybe y'all might like to see that. And then this, coming up here, this is a piece of chert. Okay? The chert is actually a form of sedimentary rock. This piece is a piece of Levy County chert. Okay? Now, the guy that got it for me won't tell me where it came from. He said, I said, "I'll go find it." Oh, no, I'll get it for you. He doesn't want me to know where it's at, because there is a lot of artifacts there in the seam that runs along. It comes out of Williston, runs all the way down into Hillsborough. Okay, but this is a piece of it. Actually, I have quite a few pieces. He got me a big bag because he doesn't want me going up there nosing around trying to find it. Because I know what it is. They find arrowheads over there. But this is Levy County chert. I need 2 more. Okay, this is one more, and I just threw this in. I threw this in just to be pretty to look at. This is a form of agate. It's a form of agate, and it's really kind of neat because of the way it formed. Now, as this comes around,
is that Fairbanks?
What's that?
Is that Fairbanks?
No, that's not your Fairbank agate. I did not do.
No,
she found a piece of Fairburn agate out in Idaho, South Dakota, and she's scared to death I'm going to do something with it because they're really hard to get. They're very, very hard to get. These are called moji balls, or moji stones. Okay. Now this is kind of interesting. You know, do we bring the big ones?
Yeah, I think they're over there. In the bag there.
Yep. Okay, now I know I am a science guy. Okay, I am not given to superstition. As a matter of fact, her and I are having a big discussion about the flat Earth theory, which has been going on now for days. She's listening to all this flat Earth theory stuff, and I'm trying to explain to her. Just finally, I gave up today. I said, "Believe what you want. I don't care." You know, the Earth is not flat. I've been up in an airplane where I can see the curvature of the Earth. But these are called moji stones. Okay, now they're very strange. I can feel it from here. The Indians say that this is the female and this is the male. Okay, and now when you put these together like this, you can feel it. You can feel the motion. 1 out of 10 persons can feel it. I can feel it way out here. I can feel it way out here. Matter of fact, you can't get it far enough away that I cannot feel that. Okay, she can't feel it at all. Okay.
What is the feeling like?
It feels like two magnets.
Oh,
okay,
magnets.
but it's not
I can
magnetic
feel it.
because I took compasses. I took a field strength meter. I took a magnetic field strength meter. I was going to bring it tonight to let any doubters measure it because there is nothing. There is no magnetic, no electric fields, nothing on this. But if you do like this, you can feel it. And these are the little ones here. You can feel it, but it's not quite as strong as with these bigger ones. So I want you to try that. And those are sedimentary rocks. They find these on the northwest rim of the Grand Canyon, way up near the top. It's still a pretty deep canyon up there, but these things, they rolled off. They came off at one time of a big mountain that was up there. And there's I don't know how many acres, but there's a huge place, acres up there. And we've analyzed them. The outer hull is a hematite, and the other inner part, I had one I cut apart, and I don't know what happened to it. It's one of my classes. That's why, I hate to take stuff that I really want to classes because things disappear. But I cut it apart, and inside it's sandstone. Okay, and I don't know how. I'm going to have to cut another one apart so that people can see it. Here's the little ones, so you can actually feel it with the little ones. Okay, so I'm going to pass them around. Did you try it yet?
She thought she felt something. I thought I felt something.
Well, you probably did. Some people can feel it.
But it felt, all of a sudden it started to feel very heavy.
Yeah, right. Well, that's true. But if you do it like this, it feels like the magnets are pushing and pulling at each other. Okay, that's what it feels like. But it's not magnetic.
Isn't that strange?
Okay, where did I get? See, I digress a lot. That's why I have to plan for very short talks. Okay, now we're coming out with Genesis stone.
Yes.
Matter of fact, we're going to talk about here. Let's talk about this real quick. This is what I've just been telling you. This is what they look like. You cut them apart. Okay? This is what they look like. This is the male. This is the female. And it's off the north rim. And the shaman used to use this. They had some kind of lie detector thing. That's what it amounted to. That's the one story I heard from one Indian. I don't know if it's true or not, but he said that the shaman could tell when you could feel this or not. They would look at your face. What did the guy say? They would watch the expression as you did this, and they could tell if you were lying or not. But anyway, that's what the inside of them look like. So let's go back now to this one. Now this is called Genesis stone. Okay, and this, when you get this, you're going to hold in your hand the oldest fossils. Be careful of the bottom because it's, hold on. Okay. This is the original stone. Now this one right here, this piece here came from the Canadian Shield. Do I have that up there? No, let me see if I can find it. That might be in the other talk. No. That piece right there came from up above the Hudson Bay, and it's part of the Canadian Shield. This one here came from Wyoming, and they're in the neighborhood of 2.8, I think, or 3.0. I'm sorry, 3.6 billion years old. They're right up there with stromatolites, which we're going to talk about on Thursday. Okay, but this right in here, this layer, see these layers right in here? This stone, I polished and polished and polished to get a piece to take to this rock club, and I can't get it to polish hardly at all because this in here has got an oily feel to it. So I called a friend of mine and I said, what is that in this Genesis stone? He said, I don't know, I'll call you back. And we emailed me back. And he said that they believe is blue-green algae. It's called cyanobacteria. Okay, and he said that's why it feels like that oily, because it's really an organic fossil. And he said it's got trapped in the layers, see? And then in the pieces I'm going to bring on Thursday, you can actually see it under a microscope. I can show you that there's differentiation pieces in here, right in here. But this piece I think is the piece that's in the little case. Okay. So I mean, some of this stuff is pretty old. Okay, clays. I made a mistake and I took them out of the bags. I wasn't going to have you take them out of the bags.
Oh.
Can you come back? No, never mind. After we get done, I'm going to give you, if any of you move, don't go down the crack. No, don't go down the crack. It almost went down the crack. I'm not having a good night. That's what I get for eating sugar. I ate a cookie during the break. I had a little cookie in there. Now I got the shake from it. What's that?
It's a larger piece of what you're...
No, that piece right there came from Wyoming. That's a different age. That's newer. This is much newer. That's like 2.0 billion years, something like that. The other piece is 3.8. Okay, and then we're going to talk about fossils next week on Thursday. We're going to talk about how those bacterial layers form. It's called cyanobacteria. This is just some pieces of clay, because we had clay. Every one of these artifacts like this, if I found it or she found it, if there's a number on it, because it's stuff that you don't know where it came from. It's basically, it's neat to look at, but it doesn't tell you anything. And we've been doing this stuff for a long time. She got mad at me the last class. I said, well, we've been doing this stuff for 45 years. And then she got mad because she said, well, now they know I'm 65 years old. But anyway, this is clay. And this is another piece of pottery. Okay? And these pieces look very similar. This one is about 1,000, maybe 1,200 years old. This piece is like 2,000 years old. There's a significant difference in them. Okay? And then you were going to get to keep a couple of these little guys, because these are clay marbles. Okay, we took them out of the bag. So after we get done, you can each get a clay marble. These are clay marbles from the mid-1800s. Okay. A lady said, I don't know what to do with these, so I'm going to let you have them so you can use them in your talk or something. So I got a bunch of them, and yeah, they're old, and so they do sell for something. I don't know what they. But there's different sizes. There's all different sizes. But this is clay, and this is a whole another program. Just how these marbles are made and what they do.
Is it natural?
I'm sorry.
Is it a natural formation?
Yeah, it's not natural. It's they do this in.
They roll up.
They roll them. Yeah, they put them in. They got these little mold things. They put them in, or then they drop them and spin them. Okay, I'll put these back over here. Okay, where else is clay used? And I have one of these, and I couldn't find it. I have a little Sumerian tablet. I don't know what I did with it. I've got a piece of this I was going to show you, and I just didn't. I just didn't know what it's at. And you know what? Anybody know what this is?
A rock.
Yeah, it's a rock. Well, let me see. Is it a rock? Yes, it's a rock, because it has different minerals in it. It's clay. It's a block of clay. When I come back from Georgia, I will have a block of it. I've got a piece of it up there, but I don't have it down here. And it's if you get this kind of clay and you get it off the riverbanks, the piece I've got came out of the side of a mountain. There's a clay wedge, they call it. What do they call that? Clay outcropping. It's clay, and it washes away very quickly. Very quickly. 1,000 years the clay will be gone. That's quickly, geologically speaking. But that if you grind it up, which is what the Indians did, they grind. Actually, even the Babylonians and this would get clay like that. It was hard in a cluster. Grind it up, and then put water back in it, temper it, and that's what they made their pottery, because it's much better. Leslie used to make pots for the museum up in Maryland, up in historic St. Mary City. She made some pots for their Indian encampment, or whatever they called it. Yeah, and we would go out into the river, the St. Mary's River. We're big divers. We have done a lot of diving. We'd go out to St. Mary's River, find a clay seam out there, dig it up, and take the clay to her, and then she would make the pots, you know. And then she tempered some of it with oyster shell. You can't see it on here, but there's tempering in there. And that doesn't work very good, but it does work. But oyster shell, another old pot that people break up. And
What's the reason for tempering?
what?
Tell the reason why you temper.
You could tell, you're better, you're a clay person.
The reason they tempered it was because it has to give a little air spaces between the grains of clay. And that way it keeps it from exploding. It gives it a give, like.
She did one time that didn't have any temper in it by accident.
You just have to have temper.
And we spent a week cleaning the pieces off the side of the kiln. Okay, man-made rocks, and I don't have samples of this. I did, except trinitite, you've already seen that. And I can't find my turquoise. This turquoise sample was from Virginia, right near where you used to be, up at the.
Alta Vista?
Yeah. No, this one is from the Bishop mine, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what happened is back in the early days, late 1800s, early 1900s. Now, if that goes down that hole, you're going to crawl in there and get it.
I'm going to put it in my pocket. I'm
Okay.
going to get smart.
Anyway, they found the chemicals that they used to use in there precipitated out and actually brought out a turquoise-like material that comes on the side of these rocks. And this is not a really good picture, but I've got a piece of this. It's really hard to get down because they had a bunch of rock people went in there and cleaned it out. But in these old mines, they found that stuff, under the right conditions, forms its own turquoise. So I've got a piece somewhere, but who knows. And of course, you know concrete, and I've talked about the trinitite. Now, remember I'm an old nuclear guy. So lo and behold, here we have radioactive rocks. Okay. Now, this stuff here is called, it's now called uranitite, but this, back in my day, this was called pitchblende. It's a uranium ore, okay? And I could tell you stories about when I was a kid. I was a very precocious kid. And about 12 years old, I built a Geiger counter. My dad found some scrap parts somewhere, and I built a Geiger counter. And I thought we were going to be rich because I lived with my grandparents a lot. And their cistern was radioactive, both cisterns. They had no water. It was in West Virginia. They had, they were on caves, so the water would just pop in. And I thought we were going to be rich. But every time I'd get away from the cisterns, it would go away. And it never dawned on me till 20 years later. My grandmother died of multiple myeloma. And what happened was, now I'm sure that all of the atomic bomb tests in the early 50s was precipitating out on the roofs of the house, which then ran into the cisterns. And my grandmother was a big water drinker. My grandfather and I didn't drink much water, but she did. And those cisterns were so radioactive from the cobalt and cesium that was raining down and then plating out on the concrete on the inside of their cisterns. I mean, we'd have to clean it out. Every year or two we'd have to clean it out, get all the dead rats and stuff out, get in the cistern. No, that's true. That's really, I'm not kidding. We'd get snakes out of there, mice, critters, all kind of critters. But when I'd go down in there, I'm little. I didn't start growing until I was about 14. So they would drop me down in, and I would get down there with a scrub brush, And I kept thinking about this. The walls were funny. They didn't do like regular concrete. And what it was is that all that dust and stuff, it wasn't the radioactivity that I was seeing, it was the dust that was associated with the fall off of the roof. Okay, and even then, my grandmother would go out there before the rain and she'd put a diverter in, it would flush the water out. But then as soon as it rained for 10 or 15 minutes, she'd go back out and put it right back in the cistern. So, what I want you to see is, could I have a lovely volunteer from the audience, please? Oh, look at this. I'm glad we picked